MDs, this message is specifically for you. I got Pelayo. Look at his face. He's not happy because Sheena talked a lot of smack to him last night. And you have to be in a group meet to hear them two going back and forth. Unfortunately, Rodolfo was not here to enjoy because Rodolfo wasn't at all part of the conversation. FAB is very friendly with each other. And Jose's got a smile on his face because their organization is about to do 5,000 recruits, $5 million the way they're looking, new record breaking, including their hierarchy. They're in a very, very good place. But I want to give you guys a couple numbers here. As of right now, we've already done $15 million, not including 2,000 policies in the system. Let me say this one more time. As of right now, we've already done $15 million. And I want to give you guys a couple numbers. Gaitan, if I were to ask you what the number one personal producer would have been 3 years ago in PHP in a month, what do you think that would have been?
3 years in a month?
3 years ago. What do you think the number one personal producer would have done?
We would be stretching at 80,000 points.
Personal points? Okay, what would you say number 10 would have been?
Probably 20,000.
20,000 points. Let me give you some data here so you know what's going on. Last month, we had 410 people that did a minimum of $10,000, and we haven't even processed 2,000 policies yet. Last month, we had 149 people that did $25,000 in a month. And last month, we had 28 people, listen to this one, 28 people that did $50,000 in a month personal. This is not base shop. This is personal, $50,000 in a month. And then we had a person that did $100,000. I think Mason made, I don't know what he made last month, $145,000, and a bunch of other things. Base shops, last month, we had 267 that did a minimum of 10, 156 that did 25, 102 that did 50,000 points in their base shop, 36 over 100, new record, 4 over 200, 2 over 250. We've never in the history of the company had a month like this before. And here's what you're going to get today, MDs. Get your paper and pen out because this is what the outcome is. On this Zoom, you're going to hear from 3 members of FAB on how to go in, on what to do while you're there, and what to do leaving. Jose will be sharing with you guys what to do when you leave. Pelayo will be sharing with you what to do when you're going in. And Sheena will be sharing with you what to do while you're there. And then we're going to do a couple role plays of what people may be saying, excuses they're making, and how to overcome that. So having said that, I'm going to give you a couple numbers here for closeout to real quickly recognize, and then we'll get into this. And I know a lot of you guys are wanting to get VIP seating. Let me just show you this. This is closeout for Saturday. Vargas is based at 5. Gaitan did 12. Sapala did 15. Pelayo and Del Toro led the way with number 1 at 21 base recruits. Great job to both of them. Councils, we had Davai Phelps 1, Graziani, Alejandro 2, Sanchez 3. Let me go to the people with 10 plus. Gaines did 13, Musgrove 15, Hart 18, Don and Kilroy 20, Ricky and Erica did 37 for closeout. And on the VP side, double digits, Bay did 10. Great job, Bay Tico. I haven't seen Bay do 10 in a long time. Sheena, I can't think of the last time Bay did 10 in a month, let alone 10 in a day. Okafor did 10, Marcelo and Gabby 10, Marroquin 12, El Janet and Benny 15, Suazo 15, good job. Castro's led the way with 23. And then you got SMD, EMD, bunch of guys led the way. Rodriguez, Blessing, Medina 10, Campos 14, Diego Garcia Rodriguez 16, and Saldana 16. Maritza Craig 17, Colmenares 24, Elvana 24, Perez 36 recruits on closeout. Phenomenal job, Perez. And last but not least, you got the MDs here, Lomelins. They just purely are pissed off. Let's see what Lomelis did on closeout. What did Lomelis net do in closeout, Tico? Do we know? Yeah, Lomelis closeout did 16 and a half. 16, yeah. Lomelin's net did 55. Luisa Reyes did 40. Both of them are direct to foreign Christian. Then Dr. Julia Young, Julia Young, direct to Sapalos. Is it direct to you, Sheena?
First, no, Musgroves.
26.
They locked up SMD.
Oh, I love that. Marilyn Gutierrez, 17. Luan, 17. Zambrano, 16. Look how many MDs did 10 plus. Bunch of you guys did 10 plus. Proud of everybody here on this list that did 10 plus on closeout. And then if we look at net VP, at the top is Pelayo. Second place is foreign Christian Oriana with 112. Then it's Ricky and Erica Del Toro Gaitan. Go take a look at this. 4 out of 5. Jose, is that a 4 out of 5 TGA?
That's right.
Yep. 4 out of 5 is TGA. Then it's Don and Kelleroy Gaines. Musgrove, Pimber, Sapala, Alejandro Suazo, Marroquin, Sanchez, Castro, Hart, Graziani, Lugo, Williams, Quindinelli, Nieves, Marcelo, and Gabby, and Rodolfo. Rodolfo and Ceci's net was 23rd. I don't think I've ever seen that since he's become a VP. I don't think I've ever seen. Maybe this is the least competitive net VP they've ever had. That's a shout, a call out to who? It would be to Haas, it would be to a few other names, because their net is still thick. I don't know if they're that competitive right now.
Yeah.
And then you got the rest of the camp. By the way, I want to show you this. Net VP for the month. Pelayo ended up first place. Great job, Pelayo, 789.5. Gaitan, 612. Then is Del Toro again. Sapala's. Oriana, sixth place in net, beating out all of TCO by 1. That is a very big deal, by the way, if you think about that, right?
That was our target too, man.
Jose, let me ask you, how confident are Thor and Christian about beating TCO? Is it just hype, or are they pretty serious about it?
On the call we had today, very respectful. Oriana mentioned Ricky because of the level of respect he's got for him. But he said, look, the entire TCO, he's all about building leaders, Oriana's, new leaders, and that's a challenge to TCO. But it was very respectful call out. They want to do it over and over again. So very excited for them. Not only them, but Malene, it's his 3rd month in a row, Pat. He's a new MD. 100, 100, 100, new MD. 3 months in a row. Like, he's a real deal. And then Luisa, he's got 2 people to direct him that are players that could become VPs. So if you're not building VPs, you got to be a little bit worried. So I feel very good about Oriana's.
Oriana's are telling me they'll have 300 people at the big event. They seem pretty committed to that.
Yes, they are, but they got some more to do. I think
we're going to see what's going to happen. All right, take a look at this, guys. When you look over here, you got Super Team. Gaitan did 26.68, Pelayo 23.40, Sapala 15.15, Del Toro 13.30, Vargas did 12.22. That's 3 different legs that did 1,000 recruits. Del Toro under Gaitan and Vargas under Pelayo. Shino, what do you think about Del Toro's out recruiting Vargas? Maybe I should ask Jose. Jose, when you see Del Toro's out recruiting all of WTP, how do you process that?
Well, Erica Del Toro told me this morning, she says, look, I don't think Vargas is the competition. That's not who we're focused on. Yeah, they've had they've done a good job, but that's not our target. We're here to dominate and conquer. So they're looking way beyond Vargas right now. And I feel very good about that going to the big event.
Sheena, any thoughts there? Or are you going to plead the fifth? What's the story?
No, it's just like, it's like back to normal. I guess it was like that short moment of like, I'm going to dominate, I'm going to take over, and it's like, boom, so we'll see if they can.
Pelayo, do you have any commentary here?
Yeah, I think Sapala's like that because they were getting beat by them. So she's happy. She has something to talk about.
I'll just wait for my turn.
And then I think Del Toro's, I like Del Toro's, man. I hope they're consistent. We've been looking at them for the last couple of years. Where have they been? I'm just glad that they're back. And I think WTP had a not their best month, but long-term wise, I think they're going to be bigger than MSM and TGA.
No.
Yeah, that's a dream.
That's a really cute idea.
It's good to dream.
Yeah.
Wow.
And by the way, just know
you know what I can't wait for, Sheena? Let me tell you, for me, purely for selfish reasons, I so can't wait to see your PowerPoints. Do you know when you send your PowerPoints in to Tikran, I'm intentionally not going through them because I just want to be entertained by you guys to see how you guys are going to talk trash to each other and have fun at the same. This year's Directors and Up meeting, we are putting a rated R sign outside. Like, listen, don't come in if you can't handle it. We're going to be very pleasant and nice to each other in the general session, but the MD and Up and Director and Up should make for a good meeting. Production-wise, I'll do it later. All I know is we got some wild things that's going on. Gang, VPs, remember, you're 25% with a minimum of 50. The bonus is 25%, 50%, 75, 100. You know that. And the guys that want to be on the floor, don't forget, 100 registration, 100 butts and seats. And on top of that, if you want the picks, don't forget how the picks are going to work. If you want to pick with a shack or any of that stuff, it's a reg and 100 butts and seats. Tico, if I'm not mistaken. Yes?
No, that's actually correct, Pat. 100 is the minimum registration. 100 butts and seats needs to be confirmed.
Fantastic. We'll see who's going to be doing that. Okay, so let's get right into it, preparing for the big event. Okay, so Pelayo, Sheena, Gaitan, before we get into the 3 steps, I'm going to ask an open-ended question, and then maybe we can do a little role play with everybody, and then we'll get into going in, being in, and then leaving. MDs, get your paper and a pen out. And by the way, type these notes in your iPad and put big event preparation so you can go to it every year and have these notes saved. Don't just write on a piece of paper, you'll lose it. Be prepared for this. So, Sheena, Jose, George, what are the common excuses you hear people make right now, both MDs and non-MDs, about big events? What common excuses do you hear? And not just this year, but every year. What are some of the common excuses you hear?
Oh, I mean, I got work. I don't know who's going to watch my kids. I got to get the flight taken care of. It's so last minute. What about my significant other? What am I going to do? Those are my most common ones I hear every single time. Every single time.
Something came up with my kids. So I think that's got to be planned for. I know we're going to go more into that. My spouse can't get the time off work. We just had a financial situation come up. The car broke down. We had an expense come up that we didn't, we weren't accounting for.
Jose?
I mean, those are some of the ones that you can think of. I mean, money is one of the biggest reasons why people make an excuse versus it being a reason. You can't use COVID today. You can't use all these other things today. It's simply what they just mentioned right now, Pat, that comes to mind. It's that short notice, it's money, and our job's to overcome all those objections. And, we've been doing this for years. We know how to overcome that and know that we've led people. We've had those excuses before. So, yeah.
Let's role play a couple of them. Let's role play a couple. You guys can do this with your eyes closed. Hey, Sheena, I'd love to go, but my job is not giving me those days off.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. By the way, how many vacation days do you have throughout the entire year?
12.
You have 12. Okay, how many have you used so far?
None.
None. Okay, so what are the criteria for when you do use them? What is the reason for it?
It has to be approved, but they're not letting me take it this time because, last year I took Christmas off and I took 10 days during that time, and they're not letting me do it this time around.
Okay, and what would happen if you actually had a legitimate reason to not go to work? What would they say?
They would probably work with me if I had a legitimate reason.
Have you even discussed with them or talked to them about it at all?
I'm afraid to bring it up.
Okay, what makes you afraid to bring it up?
I just don't want to bring it up because I'm concerned they'll say something.
Okay, let me put it this way. Let's just say that your son is getting married, and this is your only son, and you're never going to see this moment again. And you go to your boss and you realize that he's not going to let you off for those days for you to see your son's wedding. Now, what would you say to him to make sure that you go to see your only son's wedding that will only happen once in a lifetime?
There's no way I'm missing it. I'm going.
Why? Why is that? Why are you so
my son? It only happens one time. There's difference. That's family.
Oh, but it's outside of family. There's a different meaning to it because you have to see this, right? You have to be there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It means something to you because you can't get this moment back, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So I've noticed that people, when there is value, they'll make it happen. They'll make the argument and they'll get it done. So let's go back to why this is such an important event to go to. I remember the first time I went, it was because my boss at the time wouldn't give me time off so that I can go spend time with my child. And at that moment, I realized, well, man, some grown adult controls my time. And that time is affecting my ability to make the decisions I want to make in life. Is that how you feel right now?
I do.
Okay. So there are a moment right now that we got to change that, because remember when we spoke, you said, Sheena, I want to be able to provide my family with a life that they deserve. I want to retire my parents. I want to live my day-to-day life the way that I wanted to. But if we continue to make these decisions based off your old life and not your new life, we're not going to go in that direction. But let me tell you what happened when I made that decision. I went to my boss and I said, listen, I have vacation days. I need to take these days. It's a very personal reason. It's very near and dear to me. I don't want to go into details about it, but I'm going to need some days off. And my boss, knowing that the value I bring and knowing that the value I knew I bring to them, with my conviction, they gave me those days off. I went there and I walked into a room, and the biggest takeaway that I said is the first time in my entire life, I never felt like the minority. I felt like the majority. And from that moment on, I fast forward, I went from 250 to 500 to $1 million of income in 3 years. Would you like that to happen for you? Because the biggest mistake people make is not going to something like this. And let me tell you, you're going to feel the difference when you come back. There's going to be people that went and their identity and their belief is going to be up here, and you're going to be stuck behind, and you don't want that feeling. You don't want to feel like you left behind on something. So how about we have that different discussion? Let's role play how you would talk to your boss. Let's role play right now.
And then you would do that with them. You would role play right there with them. Okay. So now some of you guys are going to listen to that and you're going to say, well, Pat, I didn't make $250,000, $500,000. That's not a duplicatable message. There's 3 stories you got to tell with this. it's either somebody else's story, like your upline or leader story, it's your story or your downline story. Some of you guys don't have success story down yet. Some of you guys don't even have a big success story here yet. Use up, use side, but you can use someone's story with the upline story. Palayo, Gaitan, do you guys take any different approach than the one that Sheena just took?
There's a couple questions that I've gotten good at asking people that I've learned from you. One of them is real simple, is what happens if you don't go to this big event? And having them sell you on the nightmare. Let's just say you don't go to this conference, you don't have a life-changing event, you don't have a breakthrough. What's the rest of your year look like? What's 3 years from now look like? What's 10 years from now look like? Are you okay with that? If you just keep doing the same thing that you're doing, do you think anything's going to change for you? What do you think needs to change? And then another question could be, you know what your life looks like without the big event, but you don't know what it looks like with it. So what if this was the event that you were going to go to, you're going to have an emotional experience, something was going to happen for you where you had a breakthrough and you come back and your life is forever different. Is that going to happen at your job those days? No. Another one is, what is it going to cost you? What do you make a day? $100 a day, $200 a day. So are you going to allow those, $300 or $600 that you're going to make during that time to stop you from making $250,000, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million?
I like that.
You did a great example with the house on how much houses cost. Hey, right now, what are your top 3 goals? Just what are they? What do you really want to change? This. If you don't go to this big event, when do you think you're going to have those happen for you? So sometimes I think we got to feel like we got to know the right script versus asking people the right questions. Right. And then feel, felt, found, like you said, telling somebody else's story.
Is there anything different with you?
The only thing I'll add is you go through the buddy phase, you go through the mentor phase, and then you can go through the challenging phase. And a lot of you today, we're mentors and we can challenge people. And one thing that comes across very sincere that I've seen Pat and our peers use it in the past is asking somebody directly, do I have your permission to be direct with you? Do I have your permission to be honest with you? And people just want to know that you believe in them. And you could remind them of who they are. Here's what I know about you. You're married, you have kids, you work as a bill collector. When we sat down to the business plan, you told me you want to do X, Y, Z. And you just got to be honest with me. Be honest with me. Can I be honest with you? I believe you are a VP potential making $250,000. That's $500,000 a year. That's how I see you. You may not see yourself like that, but I see you like that. Where you're currently at right now, if you don't make any changes, is anything going to change? Is your identity ever going to get to that $250,000, $500,000, or $1 million of income? Can I be honest with you? Can you give me the honest truth? No, you're right. At my current job, nothing's really going to change. Well, listen, I had a mentor like Patrick. I didn't believe in myself at one point. But I'm glad that I had someone challenge me to go to the big event. They poured belief into me. I borrowed their belief.
That's big.
Until I believed it. And now I never imagined doing what I'm doing today. And my mom's retired and living where I'm living today. And life has changed because I went to a big event. Who's in your corner? Who's in your corner today to help guide you to get you to $250,000, $500,000? So can I be honest with you? Be sincere with people, but you got to be sincere with that message. I think, Pat, you've delivered that so many times that it's just real. It's just honest. It's heart to heart. So
I love it. Fantastic so far. Let's do the next one because this is the one that I think a lot of people drop the ball, and I think all of you guys can empower the rest of the field. Is how sometimes spouse is not coming, but they're excited one person is showing up. It's like, oh, it's okay. One person is going to show up, but the spouse is not going to show up. So say you role play, you talk to me and I tell you, yeah, George, yeah, Jose, yeah, I'm going. And then you ask, so when are you and your wife going to get registered? So no, I'm going. My wife can't make it, or my husband can't make it. What approach do you take when they say their spouse cannot make it?
One of ours, Pat. I'll ask them, in terms of you guys planning I'm sorry for the we're finishing our full timers for the noise, guys. My apology. With you guys make decisions together, right? Financial decisions, buying a house, investing, things like that. So if you guys are going to make those decisions together, and this is going to be something that helps you achieve your goals and your dreams financially, do you think she's going to play a part, or your husband's going to play a part in you guys building this dream life? Yeah. What part would you like them to play? Well, support. They don't really know. So what happens in our business is you're going to have a breakthrough. You're going to come back and you're going to want to share that experience with this person, that your life's going to change, that your dreams are going to happen, that this is really your shot. And that person they didn't have the same experience. So their identity is, they're stressed, they're with the kids, they're worried about bills, they're doing chores. So their identity is here, your dreams are up here. And what typically happens is because they didn't have that breakthrough, you can't tell people what that's like. You have to show them what it's like. And your motivation is going to fade, versus you guys coming back for the first time in your life. You guys are inspired as a couple where you could build something for yourself, and you're both on the same page. Your dreams are aligned, and you go on the greatest run of your life. And what if what if this event is the launching pad for the greatest run of you and your wife, or you and your husband's life, and you miss it because that person, you didn't want to get babysitting, or you didn't want to invest that extra money in the ticket, And so I sell them that, and then I'll ask, so what is it that's stopping them from going, and how can we work around it? What is it? Is it logistics with the kids? Is it finances? What is it? Let's look for solutions, and we'll have that conversation.
I like it. Sheena, anything on your end?
Yeah. So if it's a spouse like the wife, I'll have this conversation with the husband, because typically I know exactly what they're thinking. And I'll say, okay, well, tell me the reasons you think your wife won't go. And he'll say, because the kids, right? The kids and school starting right now, and it's August and all that good stuff, right? Okay, great. Well, let me paint this picture another way. What is your wife's love language? And I'll go through that. She likes acts of service. She likes to do things that are fun. Okay, great. So when's the last time that you guys ever got away together? And when's the last time that you ever planned it yourself? Meaning, she's not planning it, you're planning it. What? Now, when you do go out of town, who typically will watch the kids for you? Okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to call that person, and you're going to plan this for her. So the time you get to her, everything's taken care of. So go give mother a call, give mother-in-law a call, say, hey, listen, I want to take her away to Vegas. We're going to go to a conference, and then we're going to spend a couple extra days just to spend time with each other, because I got big visions and dreams of what we're going to do for this family, and I need her with me. And I know for a fact that if I were to plan everything for her, and I just come to her and say, hey, everything's all taken care of, that I have a higher probability that she's going to say yes to it. So we'll plan it out where I literally do all the logistics and helping him get it done without her, so that when he gets to her, now it's a conversation of, hey, I'm setting the tone. We're going to go out there at this convention because it's the dreams that I want. I want you to be a part of it. But while we're there, we're going to have some time to spend together, because I miss being around with my wife. It's been a long time since we had time together, and I think this is the perfect time to do it.
Let me ask you, how often do you guys just make the call to the spouse rather than, just talking to the husband? How often do you make that call to the spouse, or do you leave it to the FA to do it?
No, it typically depends on the type of personality the wife is. So if she's like a strong personality, doesn't like it when she's told something else by another woman, I'll coach the husband to do it by doing it the way that I just mentioned. If the wife is a different personality that can handle me kind of going to her and not be offended by it, then I approach her and say, listen, there's an event coming up, and I think he really wants you to go here. He probably won't tell you to you, but it means the world to him. He's said so many things about you. And the fact that he feels so much more confident with you around, I'll just tell you right now, me, myself being a wife, and my husband being in business together, I've realized that my husband has a different level that he walks and talks, knowing that I'm right there along with him. And I can't tell you how many times he said, man, I wish my wife was
I like
there.
that.
Yep.
I like that. I like that a lot. That mindset of, Jose, do you guys make the call to the spouses, you and Marlene?
We have called the spouses. It's important that they hear from you, because you got to also pour belief into that spouse. For example, the wife is not going. You got to also pour belief into the husband and say, I believe in what your husband's going to do. And here's what your husband thinks of you. If they hear it from you, and you're telling the spouse who wasn't thinking about going, that your husband would like for you to join him in business, and how they can be a power couple when it's coming from a stranger, it's very powerful. So making those phone calls, pouring the belief, coming from that angle helps. The other thing I'll add, Pat, is when we talk about couples maybe not going to the event or having a challenge with that, I literally show videos I've shown videos of Rodolfo and Ceci. I've shown a video of Matt and Sheena, and I tell their story. At one point, Sheena played this role in the relationship with Matt, but because of the event, here's the role she plays now in the event. Here's her income. Same thing with Rodolfo and Ceci. Here's her income. And they can relate to that.
I like that a lot. Pelayo, anything different than what you heard?
It's a conversation with the husband and wife together instead of trying.
We lost you the first 3 seconds. Say it again.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. Go ahead. Say it again.
I said, we normally are the ones making the call, not telling the FA to call, or if they're in your base shop, right? You're the MD of this. I know this is for MDs today. So we make that call and I'll speak to the husband and wife and I'll have the FA or the director listen in. This happened with 2 MDs the other day. They came up and they had a conversation about one of their teammates quitting. They're marketing directors already. We made that call in front of them and they realized that they were being very logical at trying to overcome that objection versus emotional. And so we all need role playing. So that's one, we make the call. 2, if you haven't done this at your BOM, I highly suggest it tomorrow to have couples do that talk at the BOM of the importance of being there as a husband and a wife. So we had Ernie and Sharon do a talk. They had their son at a opening day of going to college. Ernie goes to our event. He's there for the MD meeting. He flies back. He does opening day with his son because he had to be there for that day. And as soon as he's done, he flies back to the big event. Like the no excuse mentality of sharing those stories at BOMs. Tomorrow should be a big day of money stories, last minute recruiting stories, challenges that are going to come up, all those stories at BOM.
By the way, the biggest part about this last topic was when Pelayo said, you call the spouse. If you can call the spouse and use the one phrase that Jose used, like, do I have the permission to be direct with you? The one question in this topic before we get to the last one, and by the way, all of us just came out with a system. The top 3 objections when it comes down to big events are what? Time away from job, spouse, money. And we're going to get to money here in a second. So always remember those 3. Let's create an acronym. What would it be? What would it be? JSM. There you go. JSM, job. Then you got spouse, got money. Job, spouse, money. JSM, job, spouse, money. Job, spouse, money. So this is the one question to ask. And I've asked this question no matter, this is my RI, my KTP, my 3 good qualities, doesn't matter, but specifically big event. Here's a question. What do you have to look forward to for 2023? And they say, what do you mean? I said, what do you have to look forward to for 2023? I don't know if I understand the question. Well, if you're going into a new year, the idea is to have some unknowns that you don't know how great they're going to turn out. People buy the lottery because it's unknown and it's exciting for a week. What if I win it, right? What unknown do you have going into 2023 that you have something to look forward to? I don't have any. Well, if you don't have something different you do going into 2023, 2023 is going to be same as 2021, okay? So if you want something to change in 2023, it doesn't happen in 2023. It happens 6 months before 2023. And the way to do it is to go to a big event, and that's now. It's not easy. It won't be the most logical decision. It won't make sense on paper. But anybody who's ever won at the highest level, they never did anything that made sense on paper. At some point, they had to make a decision to do something that didn't make any sense on paper. The only question is, are you ready to make a decision like that because you want to look forward to something in 2023? And that's the question about the challenging part. I'll give one other one. Dylan has a tendency of saying the following. He'll say the following. And we're having a conversation yesterday with Paulette. Paulette has somebody that she's like, oh, she won't go to the big event because of X, Y, Z. And Jennifer's like, yes, she told me she doesn't want to go to the big event. This one girl that we recruited. Here's what I said. And I want everybody to be thinking about this. And I've done this to all of you guys. I remember when Pelayo wanted to quit and he didn't want to come, and I had the conversation with him. I remember when Jose didn't want to do certain things, I had the conversation with him. I've done, every one of us have been a part of this, all of us. Watch what happened here. Dylan says, I don't like to play football. Dylan, I don't like to play football. I said, how do you know? I don't like to play football. So Jennifer calls me. She says, babe, but Dylan doesn't want to play football. I said, how the hell does Dylan know what he likes and what he doesn't like if he's never played football? Dylan's tendency is to say he doesn't like it until you put him, then he falls in love. Do you know what he wanted me to play with yesterday for 2.5 hours? All he wanted to play yesterday on Sunday was football. He's in love with football, meaning when people say even the following thing where it's like, but this isn't my passion, but I think I want to do this. I think, how do you know unless you go to it? You can't buy people's excuses because most people don't even know what they're saying half the time because they don't know. You didn't know. I didn't know. We had no, I never thought I was going to do insurance. Ever in a million years thought I was going to do insurance. I thought for me it was going to be Bally sales for the rest of my life. What insurance? No one in my family's ever owned life insurance. So just like this guy didn't know, thank God someone didn't buy my small excuses. You cannot buy people's excuses either, because they're going to give it to you nonstop. And by the way, the big builders in this area, one time I was in a car with George. I don't know what drive we had. We had like a 30-minute drive. For 30 minutes, George was on the call, getting everybody and their mothers to go to the big event. And all I heard was how he was overcoming objections. One call, next one, next call. And I said, no wonder this guy's got an organization that size that he's got, because it's calls like that that nobody else sees, that another person doesn't want to make the call. Oh, George got lucky and became part of FAB. Nope, he's willing to make those calls. So is Jose, so is Marlene, so is Sheena, so is Vargas, so are the big players, so do you. So now let's do the last one, JSM, job, spouse, money. When the money topic comes up, how do you guys handle it? Any one of you guys can take this one and go first.
Pat, I've asked, I think we said it, covered it earlier. I would ask them, you've asked me before, what are your top 3 financial goals? What do you want to accomplish? And it could be something for your kid's school, something for your wife, something for your house. And you got to ask them, how much money do you need to make on a monthly basis to accomplish that? They're going to tell you, $20,000 a month. And just I go back to the same thing. Can I be direct with you? What do you currently make today? I make $5,000 a month. I make $8,000 a month. When is that going to change? Do you see yourself that changing to $20,000 a month anytime soon? If the answer is no, I'm going to ask you, well, if you don't go to the big event, how are you going to put yourself in a position to make that kind of income? If you don't change anything today, and you've been making that kind of money for the last 5 years, 10 years, is it fair to say you've been making that kind of money? Yes, I have. Well, what if I were to tell you, if you go to this event, like many people like where you in your position, they've now went from $8,000 to $20,000 a month. So I don't have the money. I understand. When I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. When I went to my first big event, I put that on a credit card. That was the best investment I could make in myself. And today I'm making this kind of income. So if I'm making this kind of income today, and I'm a former bill collector, college dropout, what makes you think you can't make that kind of income? So do you want to make money an excuse or a reason why, lack of money, a reason why you have to go to the big event? Are you willing to invest in yourself? Yes, I'm willing to invest in myself, right? And just keep on overcoming that, but go back to their goals, their whys, and they're never going to accomplish their job. Relate to them with their story, or your story, and maybe they'll see the opportunity to go to the event.
George, Sheena, anything different?
Yeah, I would say with money, it's value that's always attached to money. So I know for a fact the reason that you don't think that this is worth it because you don't understand the value yet. And I need you to trust me when I say when you get there, I've never seen someone leave the event and say it wasn't worth it. The value wasn't there. They didn't get out of it. Now let's break it down because this is what people usually do. So first is your flight, right? It's your flight. That's the one thing. Have you looked at options? No. Okay. Well, Karen and me are going to look at some options right now for you. Okay. Look at this one. Is this something that we can work out? Yes, we can work out that way. Whether it be we invested in a credit card, we'll get that done. The second is hotel. Well, what if we can find you a roommate? I'll tell you right now, people earn the right to have their own room, typically going to these events. I remember the best times that I had going to these events is with a roommate. And the reason for that is you're able to share and develop a relationship with what people are going through and hearing their stories and also hearing their biggest takeaways. So what if we can find you a roommate that would help you with that cost? Okay, great. Now the third one is what? A ticket. And I think this is the big one why, for me and Matt personally, we always purchase 10 packs because you never know. You will bring to the big event some of the biggest players right before the big event. And this is where those tickets that you purchase ahead of time come in handy. Okay, if you can take care of the flight, I can take care of getting your registration ticket. That's where I use that dynamic all the time. If you can take care of your flight, meaning you can meet me halfway, I'll take care of that registration ticket.
Personal, you're saying every once in a while you use this. This isn't something we do on everybody. Okay.
Not for everybody. Personal. The other dynamic too is if they're licensed, this is where it's now time to drive them in their appointments, because even if you're not able to close the deal right before we go to the event, the idea of, okay, I booked an appointment and the process is going through smoothly, they find value in it. And right now is the prime season to go find rollovers. So I'd go into their market and help them drive activity, because activity brings results, and results are not what people think it is. It's them believing that this is real.
George, how about yourself?
All right. Can you hear me, Pat? Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know their financial situation. So I think we typically start there. But before we get into the actual money objection, we'll start with getting them to buy in, because they may use money as the reason that they're not going, when in reality is, like Sheena said, they don't see the value in it. So I like to get an agreement from them. So I'll ask them, you know, what's your current financial situation look like? Not good. How long has it been this way? For a month, 3 months, 2 years. Okay. How much longer will it stay this way if nothing changes? So what's your current financial situation look like? How long has it been this way? How much longer will it stay this way if nothing changes? And then most of these guys have never gone to personal development conferences, insurance development, leadership conferences. So a very important question is, have you ever invested any money into your identity? Or how much money in 2022 or in the last year, or whatever that is for you, have you invested into your identity? Zero. I never done that. See, one of the things I learned from Pat would always say the greatest investment I've ever made is into myself. So a lot of people invest in stocks and crypto and all this other stuff, but they never invest in themselves. So here's a question for you. Do you want your income to change? Yes. Do you want to change your home? Yes. Do you want to change private school for your kids? Yes. Do you want to change your summer vacation? Do you want to change where you guys are going to celebrate New Year's? Yes. So what has to change? What's number one has to change? My income. So now they say it. Do you feel that that's going to change drastically in the time frame you want it to at your job? No. Okay. So then we need to do something different. Yeah. That's why you need to come to the big event. Does that make sense? It does make sense. So let me ask you this. Do you have savings? Do you have retirement? Do you have credit? What's your financial situation look like? And then I'll look at, can we access the savings? Do they have that? Or the credit card? Or, you know, pulling money out of, if it needs to pull it out of your 401k. What can we do? Can you work some extra hours? You know, can you borrow it? You know, if you were starting a business, how are most businesses financed? Through a loan. Can you borrow it and, you know, pay that back? And then we process that conversation.
Okay, guys, a lot of stuff was given here. By the way, Sheena, didn't you guys get 10 directs last month and 8 of them are couples going to the big event?
Yes.
Palayo, didn't you get 6 directs and 6 out of 6 is in licensing or something?
Yep. And they're all coming. 5 of them are coming to a big event.
We got 7 directs and half of them are going to the big event.
But by the way, guys, you just heard from the top 3 earners out of 4. Vargas would be a top 4, top 3. You just heard from FAB, and 99% of you are being out recruited by the top 3 earners. Let me say this one more time to you. 99%, 98% of all MDs and PhD are being out recruited by 3 BCs, 6, 7, and 10 personal recruiting, because they know the power of this. So why are they doing it? Just think about it for yourself. Why are these guys going to, if they don't think this stuff works, why are they doing it right now? Maybe they know something I don't know, because they know the power of override and big events. That's the name of this freaking game. That's the freedom. That's why Jose just bought his dream house, you know, doing what he's doing right now. That's why these kinds of things takes place. Okay, so let's go through it. George, you go first, then Sheena, then Jose. Gang, get your paper and pen ready. George is going to share with you. I'm sorry. Yeah, George is going to share with you guys how to go into the big event. Sheena, while you're in, Jose coming out. George, lead the way.
Thank you, Pat. So going in, guys, if you have not, I know it's kind of last minute, but a lot of this stuff sometimes when I was newer, I would make the mistake of last minute, just saying, we're going to get there. Yeah, you're going to get there. And I wouldn't inspect the process. So make sure you have a simple Google sheet or Excel, and you know what flight people are coming, when they're coming. If they're driving, okay, great. So how are they getting there? Number 2, where are they staying, right? Hopefully you did a good job of driving the hotel, but do they have a hotel, right? Where are they staying? And then I want to know arrival and departure time. I want to make sure people are going to be there. A mistake that a lot of people make is they don't tell the people to get there in time. They'll just say, oh, show up for the gala, show up for this. We're having all of our guys, we're doing an event on the 9th. Pool party, all kinds of stuff with WTP to get everybody there early. And then we have a meeting that night with MD. So we're having everybody get there the day of registration, which is the 10th. But I make sure everybody's there and I'd have those logistics. Don't wing it. Make sure you look at that. Have your BSC help you with that. Number 2, expect last minute cancellations and challenges and prepare your guys for adversity. So if I'm talking to my guys, I'm sharing stories. I'm training on that at Tuesday BOM. I'm training on it. I'm sending I'm sending messages every day in the group me. I'm recording a YouTube video, posting that for my guys. I'm talking about how adversity strikes right before a big event. Anything that can happen will happen to stop you from having a breakthrough. And so I'm preparing that mentality. Number 3, your biggest guys are going to get recruited right before a big event. Your best people, for some reason, they get recruited right before a big event because their first experience in business is a convention with 15,000 people, with Nelly, with Shaq, with Layla, with Kurt Warner, with Penn and Teller, with Patrick, with all the $1 million earners, the show. That's their first event versus a person gets recruited to Zoom. They don't come to a big event for 12 months from now, 11 months from now. So your best guys are going to get recruited right now in the next 7 days. Be prepared for that and be in the game right now. Next one, magic is a spouse. If a lot of times we'll settle, and Pat already covered that. We covered that, but that's such a crucial person. The biggest builders in the industry, without that spousal support, it may not be the same type of business. So make sure the spouse is there. Next point, number 5, this is a great week for prospecting, blitz, so that you can fill your pipeline up with directs. Coming back from the big event, I know Gaetan's talking about that, but you should be having a super phone zone, super BOM. You should be lining up. Everything you're doing this week is to line up the amount of enthusiasm that you're going to have and be able to convert that into action. So this is a very important week for you having a big week when you leave the big event. What you do this week will line up your first week coming back. It's extremely important. Super phone zone on Monday, super BOM this week, the week you come back. This is the last week to do an initiative. So if you're running a contest around, dinner while you're there, breakfast while you're there, an elite meeting with, a leader. Hey, anybody gets 3 directs this week? We're going to have a meeting in my suite with such and such. So very important to use this strategically. We were talking this morning with RMDs, and some of the guys are doing like a VIP pass where anybody does X, all your lunches are taken care of, breakfast, coffee. So you got to be creative. This is the week to be creative, have fun. Some people are doing a small bonus to travel expenses. So anybody does X, right, they're going to get $100 Amex. So helping out with big event expenses. So incentive contest driving this week. Next one, attire. Make sure everybody's got their team shirts, their hierarchy shirts. Make sure you look good for gala. A lot of you guys are going to walk the stage and be celebrated. You're going to want those pictures. It's going to be amazing. Look forward to that with you guys. Last couple points, recognition. We sometimes forget the power of recognition, how hard some of the guys have worked for the first 7 months of the year. And this is a chance for them to be celebrated, turned into a hero in terms of in front of their family and their teammates. So making sure that you have the recognition for your breakout meetings and all that's coordinated. I know all the different hierarchies already have their breakout meetings. So if you're an MD, hey, any kind of help, what do you need? What's the agenda? What do you need me to bring? If you haven't had those conversations, do so. Last 2 points, contest ready to go, announced leaving. So be strategic on that. What are you going to be announcing? Look into that now. And then the last point I would say, Pat, is double your attendance through the +1 strategy. Hey, listen, who would you like to bring with you if you could bring a +1? So a lot of times we think, oh, I got 600 people, 300 people, 50 people. I can't get to 100. It's taking me this long to get to 50. We're thinking like in the business of addition, and we really need to think in terms of multiplication. Those 50 can go to 100 if each one bring a +1. So that's our focus here the next 7 days, Pat.
Sick. Who's your +1? I love that. Jose, I'm sorry, Sheena, while you're there, what should I be doing as an MD with my guys while I'm there?
First is know the agenda, very detailed, and constantly communicate with your team. Every bit of the agenda. There's a lot of people within their teams that might not have experienced big events. So you want to prepare them for that and make sure they're up to date with it. Checking in with them throughout the event. Communication is really big for you guys to communicate with your associates. And I'd always put them in certain categories. So you have the killers, which is your next MDs. Those that need the vision sold to them about how big this is going to get, and the brand new folks that this is the very first time we're going to win them over. Those are the spouses. So constantly have that list before you go into an event, and then constantly be communicating with that list throughout the entire event, just checking in on them. This is also a great time to do a lot of one-on-ones, either within your base shop, within your team, with certain select groups where you have times, one-on-ones with certain select groups that you just want to catch up with. During this time, you've just noticed their numbers are good, and you like, I'm going to spend some time with them just to tell them and teach them how much bigger they can be. Or there's some people that have been ebbs and flows. Let me spend some one-on-one time with them just to kind of see what's going on. And then you can have the group sessions. The group sessions are good about putting everybody in one room, and also really good about doing debriefs at the end of every evening. So say your group goes and does a full day's of meeting, and you want to group them up at the end and say, let's do a debrief session. Let's talk about what is your big takeaways? What is the thing that you caught right now? What are you seeing? What are you noticing? Don't you realize how worth this it is? Let's continue to prepare for what the next event's going to be and how many people you're going to bring. So you're going to start planting those seeds during those debrief sessions. One thing that we do well is do a poster, and a poster where you have the faces of certain leaders within the organization that you know for a fact are going to be on stage and speaking. But next to those faces are 1, 2, 3 takeaways that you got from these key people. It's really great to see that kind of accountability, that they take this sheet and they fill it out throughout the entire week and then they collect it at the end. Maybe give them a prize for those that fill it out and turn it at the end, like a gift card or whatnot. But it gets you an understanding of what their mindset is and also accountability for them paying attention. Food is a big deal. Be mindful what you eat. You got to have endurance. People don't realize a big part of going to these meetings is actually to build your mental endurance and physical endurance more than anything else. So be mindful of not eating heavy food, eat light, drink a lot of water, so that you can maintain your attention span during this entire time. Take notes. If you don't come with a really thick notebook ready to take notes, note takers are history makers. That's a big one. And the last one is focus on the goals that you want when you're there. And I always say break it down to 3 big goals. Emotional goal, I want to buy my mom a purse, and this is what's going to get me to get there. Financial goal, when I'm going to make X amount of money leaving here with these tips. That could be I'm going to make a consistent 1,000, 2,500, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 when I leave here. And a selfish goal, what are you going to reward yourself with if you take all this content and you do something with it? Do a selfish reward. I don't know what that would be, but that would be on you. So that would be our tips about while you're at the event.
Awesome. I'll go into leaving the event. Guys, exciting. One of the biggest things I learned from Patrick, guys, when I was in his base shop, no matter how small you are as an MD, doesn't matter where you are today, it's about where you're going. So number one is, what is your campaign leaving the event? Okay, what's your vision leaving the event?
Bingo.
Who do you want to be in PHP? And right now, there is no room to play small. Emotions are so high. Your team's got to buy into the leader before they buy into the vision. And you are the leader. So have a handout. Every MD, if I'm part of your team, and I just came out of this amazing event, if I don't walk away with a handout on your campaign or what we're doing next, if I can see my picture there as your next MD, you think enough of me as to put me on your flyer as being your next MD? Man, you believe in me and my emotions are high. I could really do something with this company. Have a campaign. Okay. What's your next target? What's your next promotion? How many watch earners are you going to be promoting on this campaign? Okay. How many ring earners are you going to be promoting on this campaign by the end of the year? How many names are you going to have on this campaign where people feel that they're part of the team, they're part of the next team, they're part of the next team that's going to be crossing the stage at the next event? And then you're selling them on getting ready for the greatest run of your life, August through December 2022. So as an MD, what are you doing in the base shop? For the bigger teams, your super base, your net, and of course your hierarchy. So break it all down so everyone can see where we're going. So that's the campaign, number one. Number two, have a 3-day blitz leaving the event. Okay. It's not what you do in the following week. It's what you do that night. How many phone calls you're making that night, what you do, because the event ends on Saturday. Most of us come back on Sunday. Is Monday, you're going to have an emergency meeting in your office on Monday. Okay. Some people maybe do it on Sunday, but on Monday, some of the best times that we've done it is we'll do emergency meeting at 4 o'clock, for example, and it goes for about 2 hours or 3 hours. Okay. And then you go right into your phone zone. Okay. And you're going to have a record number of associates come into your office, and for that phone zone, it's going to be a blast. You're going to post it everywhere. The excitement's going to be very high. You're going to book a record number of appointments on Tuesday, which is that BOM. By the way, the 3-day blitz, that meeting, people are speaking, not just you speaking, people are speaking, they're sharing the takeaways from the big event. There's emotion, you're carrying that emotion. The event lasts 3 days, guys. Leaving the event, the emotions last 3 days, then it's gone. Kiss it goodbye. You can maximize it. So The emotions, you got to carry that emotion on Phone Zone when people are speaking before Phone Zone, and you have a great Phone Zone. Then on Tuesday, it's your BOM. Okay. Imagine having a contest with whoever has the most guests, whoever has the most personal recruits by Tuesday. On Tuesday, leaving the event, every single MD, you should have a goal by Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, everyone's at President's Club by getting 10 recruits from that day. You get it from Sunday to Wednesday, you got to get 10 recruits is what I mean, leaving the event. Have that as a goal. So on Tuesday, whoever has the most guests, the most recruits, you're going to have a VIP dinner that night for the top performers. Leaving the event, you could also launch your PHP universities. You could launch your masterminds that you're going to have that are always great to have a mastermind. If we leave the event, it's August, now September, you go into the run. October is always a great time in between your run to have a mastermind that you could launch. But in order for you to qualify to be part of PHPU, in order for you to qualify to be part of the mastermind, they have to be registered for the next big event. So make that one of the requirements. So if you have PHPU, for example, we'll just say you have to do 5-5.
Big. That's big. That's a great reminder, Jose. Please continue. That's very big.
You got it. So in order for you to qualify for PHPU or your mastermind, they have to be registered for the next big event. So for example, let's say PHPU is normally 5 directs and 5,000 points. For example, maybe it may be different. You can say with a 3-day blitz, though, you can say the first 30 people that do 2 directs in the first 3 days, leaving the event, and they do maybe 2,000 points, then they qualify for PHPU. So now you maximize the PHPU qualification those 3 days. You follow me? Instead of waiting for the whole month of August to wrap up. So maximize in a short period of time the campaign and the blitz, so you get the most out of your guys Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, leaving the event. Next, but be mentally prepared that we're going to Cabo. A lot of you guys are going to Cabo, so you don't want to have a slow momentum leaving the event. If you do it right, you can max out the week of the 16th, the following week, the 22nd, and you close out on the 30th, leaving the event. So have a campaign or a contest, the time that we're in Cabo, not that they can go to Cabo, but something they can do that week, have a contest that week. Maybe it's gifts you bring back from Cabo. Lastly, number 3 is driving registrations, guys. We build from big event to big events. That's what builders do, guys. We have next board council retreat coming up. We have middle appointment shop coming up. We're building from event to event. So now how to drive big event registrations. VPs, get ready to buy your 100 packs. MDs, 50 packs, 25 packs. You got to have a goal for the next event. Do you want to double? Do you want to triple? Or do you want to 10x your number of attendees into the next event in January or February, where this is your event? The councils are running it, multiple locations, but this is your event in January because you're going to pretty much run the event and cross the stage. So have a goal from stage on the first 10, for example, that get a 25 pack. The first 20, for example, that buy a 25 pack. There could be shirts that you can order. It says, I'm the next MD. I'm the next VP. And we've had those before. People get excited. They're running up on stage, getting their 10 pack. The first 20, for example, will get those shirts. Or if you get 40 registrations, you put a number because of the next VP and maybe they're SMDs and up, then they can get, I'm the next SVP for 2022, and you can give out those shirts. You can have cash raffles that we've done on stage. You can give out some laptops on stage, just raffles for the more people that buy big event tickets. And then lastly on that, and then also a lot of times in our breakout meetings, guys, people want stage time. They want to compete. And you can say the first 50 or the first 100 that get a big event ticket, they can run up on stage. They can 30 seconds, do a quick call out or shout out to everyone. And you build up some momentum where people are running up on stage and they're buying big event tickets. We've done that before. It's worked out successfully. And you can have tiers. Anyone that buys a 2-pack or a 4-pack, 10-pack to get XYZ. And those are some of the ideas, Patrick, leaving the big event. Hope that helped so we can maximize leaving this event. Thank you.
Fantastic from all of you guys. I got a couple things I'll add to this and then we'll wrap up. Number 1, don't just train on this. Do this. Managers are going to go and tell other people how to do this. Leaders are doing this, okay? Leaders are doing this. Somebody doesn't wake up in one day and they have 2,000 people at the big event. You have to be intentional for you to get at the big event type of stuff. That's one. Number two, on what I got going in, have a clipboard with you with all the names of people, phone number, information. I was a clipboard guy. And if you're not a clipboard person, the names on your phone, somebody I can just dial. I know exactly who's staying with who, the intel for my base shop. I need to know exactly where everybody's at. That clipboard's in my office desk, next to my desk here, going into the big event, knowing exactly where everybody's at, spouse, who I need to call, who I need to reassure, who's got flights booked, all of that stuff, tracking. You can do that with your base shop. Okay, let me see this going in. A unified chant. Most of you guys already have a unified chant. If you haven't practiced it, role play, make a video, send it to all the offices. Let them send it back a video to you. This is specifically with VPs or CCs or BCs. I'd have everybody doing a one-page business plan this week. You're going to bring a one-page business plan campaign. I'm saying it to tomorrow, Tuesday, Saturday. I want your one-page business plan. I want everybody to have a one-page business plan on what you're going to be doing. You know, SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. What are you not improving in? What do you need to improve in? You know, hey, I'm not good at annuities. Well, what are you doing to get better at good annuities? I want one pager that I'm going to be showing, and the main MDs will give me their campaigns, and I'll talk about it on stage on Saturday going into the big event. And the FAs will come through by the leaders in the office, and everyone's going to be sharing their campaigns with each other to know who's the hungriest. Typically, I would do it tomorrow, Tuesday night, but you don't have enough time to do it. You got plenty of time to prepare them for Saturday. When Gaetan talked about campaigns, here's what you got to be thinking about with campaign. You would put a one-page business plan, and then you put your 3 to 5 things you're going to improve as a team leaving the event. This is specifically from August 1st to August 31st. Beat your prior best. Number of associates who recruit, fast start school, writing 10,000 a month, personal development obsession, competition. And here's what we're going to be doing from 8/1 to 12/31, 1,000 recruits, 100 licensed agents, et cetera, et cetera. But you're putting your one pager there and what you're looking for. You do this every big event you're going into, and I have that part prepared. Now, while you're there, energy's up. Anybody that's on stage that's speaking part of your team, scream as if it's you. If you're a player, take pics. Don't be big shotting it where you don't want to take pics. Don't get drunk. No drugs, no alcohol, no partying, no acting like a fool. Because if you do, I promise you, people are going to know about it, and it eventually gets back to people. Don't go gambling while the event's going on. None of that stuff. Stay as focused as possible the entire time and set the example. When I was coming up and I would walk by a casino during the event and I would see one of the players there, I'm like, I'm going to crush this guy. There's no way you can compete with me because you're distracted. My mind is on taking over the world. Your mind is on doubling $100 into $200. What a small thinker. You're not competition. Good for you. So think big on that side. Don't be doing any of the gambling type of stuff. And I remember what Jose just said. It's officially August 1st. This is the last month to qualify for Million Point Bishop Retreat. That's it. This is the last month. So, some of you guys are going to Cabo for 5 days. Some of you guys are in Vegas for a week. So don't forget, you only have 18 days this month to finalize Million Point Bishop Retreat. So let's not get it twisted. That's the most important meeting of the year that we're doing end of the year. This is the last month. September is the last month for next board council retreat. This is the last month for Million Point Bishop Retreat. If I'm a VP, I'm getting it done, and I'm getting all of my guys to get it done this month. I'm still going to have a big month, and I guarantee you, many of your peers are going to forget this one part that Jose just brought up, Million Point Bishop Retreat. Make sure it's not you. And the last but not least is the following. I'm recruiting opponents for my guys. One of the best things that happened with George is Sheena. George needed a competitor. I need somebody to go after constantly. I'm constantly looking for reasons to compete on a whole different level. I have a list of 30 people I want to compete with that it's driving me. So I know myself. I'm recruiting competitors. I'm recruiting competitors for Sheena. I'm recruiting for Sikas. I'm recruiting for Gaines. I'm recruiting for Hart. Anytime anybody flatlines, they don't have a competitor. They don't have somebody to go after. I'm looking for reasons to do things they've never done before, and I'm recruiting competitors. So I'd go up and I would have my best guy standing next to me. I would say, hey, Jose, see that guy right there? Yeah. He's good in this, that. You think you can beat him? I think I can beat him. I think you can beat him as well. Matter of fact, I think you can beat him in the following areas. But if you want to beat him, he got 10 directs last month and 8 of them on stage. No way. Yeah. If you want to beat him, he did 350,000 points personal last year. No way. If you want to beat him, he's got, okay, got it. So I'm recruiting opponents for my guys. It's your job. Don't wait for your guys. Believe me, I incite opponents. Some of you guys are like, why do I want to beat that team? It's not you, it's me. I'm inciting opponents. Some of you guys are on Unity Sim. You're like, why do I want to beat that guy? It's George. Some of your teams are not competitive because you ain't looking for opponents for your guys. I want my guys to have a target. We had a conversation with one of our guys on closeouts. Like, how come I had a bad closeout? We went and visited this, and I don't want to talk to this person. I want to talk to that person. I said, give me the 5 points you gave at every office you visited. And they gave me the 5 points. I said, you're missing urgency. You're missing opponent. You're missing enemy. You're missing competition. You're missing dreams. No wonder no one took action. Like, what do you think is going to move people? What moves you? So you got to make sure you're recruiting those opponents for people to challenge them. And when I'm leaving, only 5 to 10% of you guys will do this. When the event ends, I'm texting everybody. When the event ends, what was your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway? Every night at midnight, the main players that I'm locking onto, I ask, what was your biggest takeaway from today? While I'm at Directors and Up meeting, I'm texting many of you guys. What did you think about what Sheena said? What's on your mind? What are you thinking? Why? Because I want to find out who to lock on to. That's what I'm looking for. Just like you ought to be looking for that. What are you thinking about? Versus just sitting there, it's like, that was awesome. No, intentional. Go into this big event being intentional. Make this the event that changes the face of everything for your family, your last name, your business. You become financially free. Last night at 12:30 or midnight, whatever time it was, I sent a text message to do 2 groups. Many responded. And here's what I said to the 2 groups. One was VP1, one was VP2. Nobody did anything big being realistic. We never said, let's do the realistic. We said, let's do the impossible. Nobody. And in the message, I specifically was telling everybody, we're looking for the next layer of players. And some of you guys playing small right now from the smallest MD, some of you guys just being casual going into this big event, it may not look like a big deal, but in the next 20 years, it could be the difference between you making 5 million in 20 years, 20 million in 20 years, 250 million or more in the next 20 years. That's the difference on how you go into this big event. And remember when I told you this. Remember when I told you this. That's how big of a deal this big event is. So we're watching all of you guys to see who's going to get their team most prepared and not just managing, but leading them like these 3 leaders you just saw here share with you on what they did that got them to become the FABs that they are today. Having said that, looking forward to seeing how many of you guys will perform this last week before going into the convention, because it's still the month of Million Point Based Shop. How many of you guys will get the most couples going into the event and then getting the record-breaking butts and seats front row in the back? There's a lot of smack being talked. Palaio's talking about MSM's going to be sitting in the back. Enjoy the view. Vargas are talking a big game, but we have no clue what they're going to be doing. And quite frankly, Jose and Marlene Gaitan and TJ just dropped a bomb on everybody this one and came up and said, yes, Unities has had a lead, but we're not like this small little team. We've been kicking everyone's ass for a while. We're here. At the end of the day, we're going to see who's going to be sitting where. Tico, I think you got one last announcement to make before we wrap up.
I do, Pat. Thank you so much. For anyone who got promoted to PMD, marketing director, make sure everybody gets submitted to home office so that way we wrap that up and you properly are recognized for the contests that we have. And of course, most importantly, you get to walk on stage. So don't miss that opportunity because you guys didn't submit the paperwork in time. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Pat.
Bye-bye.